Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the FrostBytez gaming experience. Let's continue onwards. So now that we have ourselves the double jump, we can actually utilize the next area much easier. The rest of the game, really, for that matter. Woohoo. Almost got a couple hits on me there. Here we go. Perfect. Alrighty, so next area. Yes, I keep forgetting about the ones here. These freaking mandrakes. I know that's not what they're called in this game because there's actually a sign that tells you to beware of them, but I don't remember what they're called, so I'm just gonna stick with mandrakes for now. Because that's how I'm gonna know them as, just through that card game. Because I had to see so many of them when I played it. It was a card that would nullify other cards, so it was needed in every single deck, really. Alrighty, so our very first, color-based scheme. So, when it comes to freezing time, there's different colored enemies and colored platforms or hazards in the way that each, reactively how your time is. So whenever you freeze time, when something is encased in purple, it's going to keep moving even with time being frozen. Okay? There's two other colors. One will only move if time is frozen, and the other one will move in reverse when time is frozen. And again, it's not just platforms, it's hazards like these spinning blades later on. There's also some enemies that are colored up as well. But yeah, purple will keep on moving no matter what. Okay, this is where I really need to utilize the auto aim because I cannot stand. This is where my hatred for the wisps come into full circle because it just stops my momentum that I have going. Because I always got to worry about running into them and getting knocked back into the spikes. Because as you've already seen before, yes, there is knockback when it comes to this game. And because of that, it can, when it comes to doing these platform sections, if you don't, if you freeze time at the worst possible area, enemies can still hit you. If you run into an enemy when time is frozen, you're still going to take the damage. So if a wisp is in a really bad area and you can't really go through, it's not really fun. We've got the chainsaw skill upgrade now. So in order to go through different skills that we have, you hold down the Y button instead of pressing it. It'll stop time. It doesn't take up any of the time slots, but it just freezes everything in order for you to pick it through. Chainsaw, cost of 15 MP, and it goes upward like the axes in the Castlevania games. Not really good for when exploring areas, but really, really, really good when it comes to boss fights. Actually, one of my primary skills that I use when dealing with boss fights, just because of the fact that, most bosses you go against are going to be directly above you. So because of that, we like to take advantage of it by, being right underneath them, freezing time, and throwing a couple chainsaws. Perfect. Alrighty, we had our vending machine and our clock, and not our clock, but our phone booth in the same area, so we know next boss fight's coming up. So it's moments like these where me not knowing anything about the Touhou games kind of sucks, because then it's like, oh, I'm pretty sure this was a big reveal to some people. It's like, oh yeah, awesome, she's in this game. I don't know who she is. Her name's Marissa and she's a witch. That's really all I've got. There's not much else that I know about it. Now, even though I stated that we like to use the chainsaws against bosses, she doesn't really give us too much to work with the chainsaw as much. There's some attacks that she does where we can utilize it, but not too much. So her very first gimmick, she's going to go through and drop these red orbs that drop the red time smoke. Do three of those attack that one little wisp thing did, and I took my first boss damage. Feels bad. She's going to shoot the ground. Relatively easy dodges. She's going to repeat herself for one go through. And then she's going to dash on through, but if you just duck, she'll just graze you. And we can get two chainsaw hits in there. You can only throw two for the time being. We can also get it here as well. And then slow down time just to walk right through. You can also walk through during the slowdown, but that takes up, a lot of our, freeze time, and we mostly want to utilize it. I kind of want to shoot some there. We mostly want to utilize it for attacks. I knew I was going to take a hit there. Because the biggest reason why we want to freeze time in the middle of boss fights, again, is because if I'm going to throw a chainsaw, I want it to cost time instead of MP. I want my MP to go to my, dagger attacks. Get a little bit more there. I'm just going to throw one chainsaw this time. I might be able to get another one on her. That's like the best area where you can get a good chainsaw on her. Alright, so This limit break attack was actually one of the most annoying that I had to deal with. because I had no idea how to dodge it at first. Only the little colored rainbow can actually hit you. The actual center itself does not hit you. So you slow down time or you freeze time, and you just walk on through, or you time or slide right through in order to dodge, you know, the spiral basically that can actually do damage to you. The rest does not. I did not know that for the longest time. I thought all of it could hit me, so I'd keep trying to go to the side and just pray that it would not hit me. Obviously, to no avail, I would still get hit, and it does a colossal amount of damage, I gotta say. So because of that, she actually led to, I want to say, unfortunately, 3 deaths before I figured out, oh, you can actually dodge it this way. Again, with Touhou being a bullet hell style game, you gotta expect some bullet hell style, you know, boss fights or obstacles to deal with. And they really bring it out with the boss fights. They really do. That's what makes it fun. You know, these boss fights can be very fast-paced, and I love fast-paced games a lot. So when it comes to dealing with bosses like this, you know, it's a lot of fun for me because all these attacks are going through, and yeah, you can utilize time slow down or time freeze to make it easier, but it doesn't make the boss fights any less fun, really. Should be able to get her right here, actually. Perfect. I mean, that's why I like to utilize the chainsaws against the bosses, because once it hits an enemy, it kind of just stands still for a certain amount of time and slowly fall to the ground. So if you aim it at the right area, you're going to get a lot of damage off of just 1 or 2 chainsaws, and later on we'll be able to throw 3 at a time. Anyways, that's 2 bosses down. But yeah, she took me about three shots to actually beat her. Again, if you can just follow where the rainbow colored spiral is and dodge it that way, not really that hard of a boss to go against. But again, in the very first time going through, I was like, what do? I can't jump over it. It's going to hit me no matter what, without realizing, oh, the center actually doesn't hit me, you know? Which they do a good job at trying to showcase that, because when you do slow down time or freeze time, the center is less colorful, you know? But for me, it took me a while to realize what that meant. And then after I slid through my first time, because I would have to freeze time, and then I just tried to slide on through, only through doing that was I able to figure out, oh, I actually don't take damage from the center, and, you know, you just kind of go on from there. Hello there, Notori. What have you got for us today? Well, in this case, she has a means of me finally talking about what the jewels do. So anyways, she talks about collecting some jewels and that she gives us something. She keeps calling us human for some reason, but, you know, whatever. Anyways, this is a shop ticket. So not only can you utilize skills, we can also utilize tickets. We'll go more into detail once we actually utilize the shop ticket right here. Yes, I've collected a bunch of jewels. She wants us to sell them to her. So, you know, yeah, we'll go ahead and take her up on that offer. And she just flies away. And you know what? It's going to take us forever to walk all the way back to her shop. So let's go ahead and just utilize it right now. Let's talk about what the shop does for us. So, biggest thing to know about utilizing the shop is you can use the shop anywhere except for the final boss. Even in the middle of a boss fight, you can bring her in, it freezes the boss fight, and you can sell jewels and buy stuff. So that's really good, especially for a first-time player. You're in the middle of a boss fight, you're about ready to die, you have nothing that can save you. Call her in, you can get stuff that'll save you. Things that she sells us health recovery, magic recovery, time recovery, and shop tickets. So basically, health, magic, time, you know, they're basically just your by the book, you know, chicken in the wall, basically. 50 HP gives you, 50 magic it gives you, and then a full time refill, okay? And again, those you can just buy as many as you want, take them with you. If a boss is beating you, or if you're getting to a certain stage and you're about ready to die and you don't want to, well, then go ahead and use one of these. Shop ticket exactly does what we're doing right now. You can call her anywhere. The other 3 things that she sells us is an eternal clock. Like what we got earlier from her, it gives us an increase in our time gauge. Our knives, which will give us an increase on the number of knives, kind of like that upgrade we had a little bit earlier. And an experience ticket, I guess, whatever it is, that gives us increased experience points. Let me say it right now. These are not worth, investing into. Okay? Because you get 5 time upgrades just by finding them throughout the game, and you get 5 knife upgrades by finding them throughout the game, and that is more than enough to get you through the entirety of the game. Getting any extra time or knife upgrades does not really do much for you. Sure, maybe in a first time playthrough, you know, it can help to get a little bit more time or be able to throw more knives during the time freeze, but after a first playthrough, you don't really get much out of it. And experience, like I talked about earlier, you know, your level ups don't really give you too much to begin with. So you might be thinking, okay, then what would you invest into? You actually want to invest into the jewels themselves. So if you do want to sell them to buy, you know, a health a health recovery and a magic recovery, that's one thing. You know, first time playing through, you know, makes it a lot easier. You can just go ahead and go over here, sell all of them. But the jewels have their own little side thing to them that Notori's not going to tell us about until much later. They give us our own little buffs. So Amethyst gives us a graze effect plus. Basically that means that every single time you graze an enemy or one of their attacks, you gain a little bit more HP, MP, or time off of them based on how many amethysts that you have. If you have more aquamarines, you get more magic point recovery rate. It goes up the more that you have of them. Topaz gives you a time recovery rate plus, Ruby gives you extra defense, Sapphires give you extra attack, Emeralds will give you an HP recovery over time, and Diamonds will give you double defense and double attack. Diamonds, out of all times that I played this game, I think I've played it about 5 or 6 times by now, I've gotten 1 diamond in all of those runs. And it was my first run because I was running back and forth, you know, I was grinding because I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going, I was trying to find all the secrets in the game, all that stuff. I've gotten 1 diamond. Okay, they're very rare to find. I don't know who drops them, I don't know what the drop rate is, I don't know any of that, but they're very hard to get. But because of this, you know, all of these little buffs that these jewels give us are actually better than any of the upgrades that you can buy here. Because again, the amount of time and knife upgrades you get throughout the entirety of the game is more than enough to get you through the game, no problem. Experience doesn't do much, and you can use some, you know, on your first go through, but further times you go through, you don't need any of these. So I say, never utilize any, don't sell any of them for gold, hold on to them, and keep all the extra little buffs that it gives you, you know, because over time, it really does stack up. You know, and you get so much out of it. You know, later on where it becomes bosses will do more healing to you by attacking you than actually being able to do damage to you. You know, so there really is no point to go out of your way and utilize... Oh, geez. I mistimed that. That's okay. We're fine. But yeah, there's really no reason to go out of your way and sell the jewels for gold to buy anything within the shop. There's nothing worthwhile there. Just keep the buffs that you get off of it. It's miles better, in my opinion. Again, first time playthrough, I did have to go out of my way and actually get myself a couple health and magic upgrades for later bosses because, again, first time going through it, you don't know all the strategies and how they work. Yeah, they can be relatively tough, and you are going to need a couple health and magic upgrades in order to keep yourself afloat, basically. Outside of that, though, not really much. And, of course, the shop tickets, so that you can, if you run out of those and you have some jewels, you can be like, okay, how about I call you in, you know, in the middle of this boss fight, and then you help me out there. You know, it works out perfectly well. Again, except for the final boss fight. You cannot call her... Oh, jeez. I knew that was going to happen, unfortunately. Get all those thrown out. Hey, you too. Might as well just do it. Perfect. Alrighty, lost some jewels there, but whatever. So yeah, always keep your eyes out for the certain jewels. Emeralds and diamonds especially. Again, diamonds, I don't know who drops them, how often they drop them, anything like that. They're such a rarity, it's insane. But other ones, emeralds especially, being able to get a health recovery over time is really nice because aside from grazing enemies, there's no way to get a health replenishment in this game. Just because I hate those mandrakes, we're just going to let them sit. And because we just finished off that boss fight, we now have ourselves the yellow key, so we can actually move to the third section, stage, whatever it is that you want to call it. To me, when it comes to Metroidvania-style games, they're more like sections. Stages are more, there's an end goal to them, whereas with these sections, they just kind of keep going and going and going. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a quick save there because, yeah, let's go ahead and just call it a part right there, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evenings. We'll catch you all on that next part.